Hi Cancer, welcome to your September 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. So before I begin, I just wanted to let you know that I have a series of readings, one for each sign, on Vimeo now called Ready for Love. And I guess I designed them particularly for people who are single and looking, but upon retrospect, they might be good for anybody who, even if you're in a relationship and you're thinking of leaving, that could be the kind of reading that is inspiring to you. I also utilize oracle cards, but I devised a spread where I kind of go into, what kind of things can I bring that can make this more likely to occur? Kind of instructional, as well as, where will I find this person, things like that. So it's kind of fun in that way, in addition to some love oracle cards. And the other thing that I wanted to say is the link to my Vimeo page will be below, but also if you want a personal love reading or any kind of love reading, that will be below as well. Obviously, as you can see, I've already laid out the cards because there was a lot of outside noise, and finally I just said this is too much, and I decided to start over again. So that's why it's out here already. So the heart of the matter is the Fool card. In a love reading, I particularly think of somebody who may be starting over again. Maybe you have been in a long-term marriage or committed relationship, and you feel like you are footloose and fancy-free, like you're on a new journey. And it's interesting that the person in this picture has a very small load, like a very few things in that knapsack. And this is to symbolize, probably, I'm assuming, not having a lot of emotional baggage. And kind of just in that sense of freedom when you don't have that. Now, with Cancer is the historian. So Cancer is really into the past and into memories. And it's uncharacteristic of Cancer to be like this. But you may be feeling liberated. And this is why you feel this way. But some of you might have actually met somebody, because we have in the past position the Three of Pentacles, which is almost like in that initial stage when you're forming something. This is the Architect's card, and it can indicate building something that is going to be long-lasting. But it would still have been relatively early in the relationship. And so you may be seeing this as something that you could see lasting in the future. And this might be with an earth sign, which would be a Taurus, a Capricorn, or a Virgo. And these are compatible signs to you because they're earth and water get along very well. Now, alongside of this, that was the past position. Maybe that's you met somebody. But right now, there is the Seven of Wands. Now, there could be a three parties involved, and that's why there's a 3. And if that's the case, you may, with the Fool card, it's very interesting. Either you may be being played like a fool, or you don't care that there's 2 people involved. You're not like really all that. You're not taking it that seriously because perhaps you were in a long-term relationship and you're not interested in going right into another committed partnership. So you may be dealing with an earth sign and a fire sign. This would be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I would put my money on Aries. And there may be one person that is very solid, and that's why I say the earth element, and the other person is passionate. Maybe you have a sexual attraction or relationship with one person. The other person, you see them in a more practical way. And so even if you're a woman, it's almost like the turnaround, what do they call it? Like a turnabout. Like you think of men where the man has one woman that he brings home the mother, and the other one who is like the bad girl that he plays with. And if you're a woman, you may have the same thing, where there's one guy and you know it's not going to last, but you don't really care. And that could be what the Fool card is, that you've like, it's either like maybe you've so fed up because you were in a relationship that perhaps the person did not respect you and you gave them everything, and then it's like, you know what? I'm going to be on the prowl now because, and not on the prowl, but I'm going to just be free now because I dedicated my life to someone who didn't appreciate me. So why should I even try right now? Right now I'm just going to be all about me. It is possible that in some cases you could be being made a fool of because of someone cheating on you. And maybe you think you're just dating somebody and they have somebody else on the side. That's a possibility. If that's the case, though, you may be starting to get defensive over the situation. The Seven of Wands can indicate defensiveness. Either you're sensing something below the surface and you may be reacting to it without knowing consciously what it is, or the other person is acting defensive when you're asking questions like, well, how come you can only see me on Tuesdays and Thursdays? How come we can never go out on weekends? And how come you only come over here at 10:30 at night? You know, maybe you're starting to ask the wrong questions for that person, and they're starting to respond to you in a kind of an angry way, and that might be a sign that something is amiss. The higher message right below that Fool card is the Hermit, and that can be seek inner wisdom. Do not necessarily call up your girlfriends and ask them, tell them what's going on, complain, and ask them what to do. Sometimes that is not going to be a wise course of action because their conditioning may be telling you, oh yeah, sure, go with this person. Even if this person is really untrustworthy, they may be acting like, oh yeah, you have to have a partner, that's the most important thing. So sometimes you need to like listen to your own heart. And when you feel uncomfortable about something, instead of like trying to see if other people are mirroring that or can give you that feedback, it really doesn't matter what they think. All that matters is what you are feeling inside, and that's where the intuitive part comes in. And you are a natural intuitive, being a water sign. But it's funny, you know, even in my private readings, I do so many readings for people that seem very intuitive. But there must be something that blocks that, and it's probably due to emotional reactions. And so it is highly important to get, what's that phrase? Be still and know. And that's where meditation comes in. Because when your mind is racing, when your emotions are, you know, have the best of you, trying to even tune into what the truth might be can be very difficult. What crosses you is the Chariot card, and this is actually your card. And this is kind of exactly what I was just saying. The Chariot is about, I think in a lot of ways the Chariot is about meditation, because it's about holding on to the reins of the horse so that the horse doesn't take you on a wild ride. You know, you're the one that's supposed to be controlling where you're going. And if you feel like your mind is racing because you're experiencing some conflicting feelings, then it's impossible to tune in like the Hermit. And the other thing about this card is it's a card of victory. So there's a feeling of being blocked, And it's probably because if you're trying to start a new phase in your life, and perhaps you jumped into a new relationship, that can be problematic as well. And that may have been premature. I know that Cancer, being a water sign, tends to really want that kind of constant emotional exchange with somebody on a deep level. And I can appreciate that. It's just that when you get involved with the wrong person, not only don't you get a deep emotional exchange with somebody, but you also get a lot of additional baggage. The other thing too is that if there is some kind of thing going on, if somebody is misrepresenting themselves to you, and they're acting like they're just dating you, and you find out they're dating someone else, you don't need to feel foolish, the fool. You don't have to feel foolish about that, because that's on them. And sometimes, like, the ego kicks in, and it's like, oh, I don't want to be seen as, like, gullible, that I didn't realize that this person was lying to me the whole time. And you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is going too far with somebody who is a deceptive person, because then you get like really caught up in it. And by then it's very hard to just walk away. So if you feel uneasy about someone and you think that they're somehow withholding information from you, the best thing you can do is just talk about it with them and say, I really want to know the truth. And if you feel this sense of like that they're pushing back, like the Seven of Wands, that can indicate that sometimes people get upset when somebody is actually questioning their behavior. Now, it's very possible that it's in your head, that you're imagining things because of your own insecurities. That's always a possibility, and we don't want to accuse somebody falsely. But by the same token, you have to have open communication if you really have evidence or feel strongly about it, rather than just allowing it to fester. It's very important to communicate with somebody how you feel about whatever is going on. And it's interesting because this is what's coming up in the near future. You getting to the bottom of it. This is the Ace of Swords. It's seeing clearly. Now, this almost makes me think that perhaps it's not even going to be something that you do. It could be something that that person does that opens your eyes. And that's almost like the best thing, because if we act on our own hunches, we may second guess ourselves, and sometimes we may be kind of being influenced by other factors. But if somebody does something, if the other party does something and you have that actual proof of it, then you know that you're on the right track. So the Ace of Swords is about gaining clarity, a moment of clarity. And then you can take decisive action, because the Ace is the beginning of something, and then you can really move on with your life. What's interesting is that this card could also be pointing to a new relationship with somebody who's an air sign, like a Libra especially, but also Gemini or Aquarius. We do have like a lunar eclipse happening on August 7th, and this is a very powerful full moon, so it's very possible sometimes at the time of the full moon there can be secrets revealed. So maybe that's corresponding with when everything becomes crystal clear to you. The outcome is the Four of Wands. So there may be a new relationship that leads to marriage eventually. This may be marriage material. Now, this is also a card of like maybe a new home. So if you're moving, that could possibly be speaking of that. whatever is going on, this is the either the outcome that you will have or the outcome that you're going towards. So you're not going to tolerate anything that is just a dalliance. You're not going to necessarily be with anybody who wants just a fling. You're looking for a committed relationship, and you're looking for marriage or the equivalent of marriage. The Four of Wands is a happy home, a new home, domestic bliss. And you rule the fourth house of home and family. So that 4 represents stability. And I started the reading with one of the first cards, the 3 of Pentacles, the Architect card. And this is about building sound structures. So it's like you're able to see the truth of a situation and then build on it. And that's awesome. Okay, Cancer. I hope that was helpful to you and that you found it interesting. And I wish you all the best in September. Bye.